Working on shaping up the tips here a little bit. This will be the top tip. It's good enough for now. I'll refine it a little bit more later. Work on the bottom tip here a little bit. Make a groove right here so that the string sits firmly along this surface instead of wanting to roll off to either side. These tip overlays are water buffalo horn. Alright, those are good enough for now. Just wanted to get them refined a little bit more and shape these outer limbs a little bit, get them the width that I wanted. Put a string back on this and see how the tiller's looking. So this is my tillering string. It's a long string, longer than I need for most bows, and I can adjust the length of it by looping the string through this washer here. Just use the same string for various projects as I'm working on them at this stage. It's a sturdy strap stringer that I use. Recurves are a little tricky with this style of stringer because back here, you know, as I'm putting pressure on this and I need to slide this loop up, it gets caught up in here and doesn't want to go all the way up. So I just use this little piece of eraser here to stick up in there and create a gap down here for the string to slide up. Don't know if it's the best solution in the world, but it works. And once I get further along, I'll be able to string it by hand and it won't be an issue anymore. But for now, it's helpful. So I've already had this bow strung up and pulling it on the tree. I'm just kind of trying to even out the discrepancies in the tiller here. You know, one thing I can measure is this distance at the deepest point on each side to see if the limbs are relatively balanced. This is kind of a low brace. I think I'm going to actually raise the brace height a little bit. I've had it up to full brace. The string just came untwisted a little bit. May even be able to string this the push-pull. We'll see. I can get it. I just wasn't sure if this was in the groove down here all the way. Try that again. Don't like the string popping off the bow. Oh man, that's just about my limit. Embarrassing myself on live stream here. I'll be able to get it next time after I take a little bit more weight off, I think. Alright, it's a better brace height, close to 6 inches. So on this side, it's about 6.5, about 6 3/4 over here, so pretty close. It's about a 1/4 inch positive tiller. This is the top limb. Not a bad place to be. I like maybe more like an 1/8. But overall, bend is pretty good. Let's see how things are looking here on the tree. Let's see. I can set this up so I'm not standing in the way. Alright, that'll work. Okay, so this bow is going to be 45 pounds at 30 inches. I haven't taken it out that far yet. Last time I checked it was about 45 at 22, but I took some wood off. So there it is at 22 inches again, but it's only like 42 pounds. So I'm going to venture out a little bit further. As long as the tiller's looking good, I'll just make sure that I stop at the intended draw weight. So if this is going to be a 45-pound bow, then I want to make sure that I stop at 45 pounds, wherever that is. as long as the tiller's looking good. There's 43 pounds, 44 pounds at 23, so it's kind of about 23 and a half right now is where I'm at. And so just going to kind of keep pulling it out to that 45 pounds at 23 and a half, and just kind of getting a sense of how the bend looks, make sure that it's even. So on the right side is the top limb, and that limb has a fair bit of character to it, and so it's a little trickier to read with the eye. There's some areas where it has a little bit of deflex, so they look like they're bending too much. And there's an area that has some reflex where it looks stiff. And so I've been working really hard to make sure that that limb is bending evenly, even if it doesn't look perfect. The left side is much cleaner, and it has that real kind of even arc to it that I want to see. On the right side, sometimes if I just kind of squint my eyes a little bit so that I can't see all the details, I can get a better sense of what the limb's doing overall. And overall, I feel like it looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with where things are at. I'm getting to a point where it might be time just to start taking some even wood off. So if you look at this top limb here, you can kind of see some of the weird stuff that's going on. You know, there's an area of natural deflex here, here, and here. So each one of those spots look like they're bending too hard, but they're really not. And then in between those spots are some areas of natural reflex. And so it looks kind of flat there. But once again, I'm pretty confident that each part is doing its fair share. And one way I judge that is by feeling the thickness taper. And if there's a very consistent taper going from slightly thicker here near the handle out to thinner out here near the tips, then I can be relatively confident that the stress is going to be evenly distributed. And so when I have a funny looking limb like that, I focus more on how it feels and less on how it looks to my eye. You know, whereas this limb has a much more classic shape to it. There's a little area of natural deflex here, so it looks a little weak in that spot. But once again, the taper is running true through there, and I'm pretty confident that it's bending well. So all in all, we're in good shape with this. This is kind of where I like to be at this stage. You know, we're getting out there 23 inches, so I've got 7 more inches to go. But I don't have any major issues that I need to deal with. So at this stage, I can just focus on some even wood removal, maintaining this nice taper. You know, my goal is to take enough wood off in a wood removal session so that I gain about 1 inch of movement on the tiller tree. So right now we're at 45 pounds at 23 inches. My goal is to take enough wood off of both limbs to have it be about 45 pounds at 24 inches. And that way I can have some noticeable and steady progress towards my goal of 30 inches. But if we take too much wood off all at once, we're kind of rushing towards that goal, and we may create some problems that we're not leaving ourselves with enough wood to deal with. So it kind of has to be a slower process. It's easy to get excited at this stage and want to get to that end goal. And sometimes that works out and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get yourself into trouble. So it's good to pace yourself and err on the side of taking off less instead of more until you kind of find that sweet spot of, you know, 1 inch per wood removal session. So the top limb It was a little weaker than I wanted it to be, so I probably will give the bottom limb a few extra scrapes just to even that out a little bit more. So when I'm at this stage, I count my strokes, and I'm just trying to keep it really smooth and even going down the whole length of the limb. I'm always paying attention to the thickness taper and making sure that I'm not doing anything to compromise that good taper while I'm doing this. So I think I'm going to go for 50 scrapes on the bottom limb and maybe like 35 on the top limb, and see if that balances out that 1/4 inch differential and get it down to about an 1/8 differential. So there's 50 on the bottom limb. I'm going to do 35 on the top. He's keeping us safe, barking at the wind out there. Alright, so there's 35. So just kind of show you, when you're working with a card scraper, you want to make sure that you're getting nice substantial curls of wood coming off of there. If you're just making dust and heat with it, you don't have a sharp enough card scraper and you're wasting your time. It's a really great tool for wood removal if you have it prepared right. Let's see if I can string this up without the stringer. Recurves are always a little trickier with this push-pull method than a straight-limbed bow, and it's a little bit more dangerous too, because if my hand slips off, this sharp tip up here could come right back towards my face, so I'm always trying to be somewhat mindful of that. There we go, no problem. So I can measure now, but I like to work the bow some before I pay too much attention to this sort of thing, but we can use this for a point of comparison. So the bottom limb's about just under 6 3/4, and the top limb is just above 6 3/4. So I've got about what I wanted right now is that 8" differential. We'll see if it's the same after I've worked it on the tree here a little bit. All right. So it was 45 at 23.5. My goal is to get it about an inch further. So there's 45 at almost 25. So that number of scrapes was right about what I wanted. There's 25 inches. I like to pull it a good number of times here. You don't have to go crazy with it, especially if there's a tillering issue. You don't want to make it worse. But if everything's looking good, just kind of exercise the bow a little bit. Let it settle into any changes you've made. I'm pretty happy with the shape still. The main thing that's bugging my eye is this area right through here where that natural reflex is. And it looks stiff there, and I may take a little bit out of there. I just want to be careful that I don't make it too weak, too thin, and have it kind of fold over on me at the last minute and create a hinge, because then I won't be able to do much about it. All right. Let's measure that difference there again. So just maybe 6 5/8 there. So still has about that eighth inch positive tiller. A little bit more space here on the top limb than the bottom limb, which is what I go for. So back to the scraping. I always want to stop and feel that taper. Make sure I'm not creating any weak spots. So I do feel. Oh. So right here, there's a bit of natural deflex, but it also feels like I may be getting it a little bit thin there, which is not what I want to do. So I'm going to make some marks here to remind me to stay out of that area and focus on the thicker areas on either side of it to take some of that strain off. You got to catch these sorts of things early, because if you notice it too late, then there's not going to be much you can do about it. So if you can see a little bit of a hinge there, nothing too bad. It looks worse than it is because of the natural deflex, but it's definitely a little thinner there. So probably stay out of that area for the rest of the process, and just focus on a little thicker here and a little thicker here. So take some wood off in those areas. This taper's feeling really good and the bend is looking really good on that side, so I'm going to leave it alone aside from keeping it balanced with the other limb. Alright, that's all I'm going to do for right now. I may get back on and show more of the process this afternoon or on another day, so just keep an eye out. Make sure subscribe to my channel. You can also visit my website, swiftwoodbows.com. I sell bows and I teach bow building classes, if that's something you're interested in. Thanks for watching. Take care, y'all.